Hey dear Aquarius, I'm Empress Rose and welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so you take what works, you leave what doesn't. And if I don't catch your storyline, or even if I do, you can check your other major placements. Over here on YouTube, we're doing an oracle deck reading. If that makes sense and resonates with you, you're welcome to join me over on Vimeo for a more traditional tarot spread. All right, let's get started. We're starting with these crows. Oh my God, that's a lot. That's a murder. Hold on. That was somewhat explosive. All right. Well, I can see why. Oh my goodness. Yes, I can see why. Okay. Well, let's take these two. Oh man. It's not all bad, but we're going to start off with some of the more difficult energies that popped out here, that exploded out of this deck. And there were a lot more. There's a lot happening here. So we have self-interest. Someone is being selfish. This is okay sometimes. Sometimes we have to be selfish. This one's yelling at him because he's being selfish. He's taking the whole meal for himself and he shouldn't be doing that. You should be sharing. But maybe this one skipped the last meal because there wasn't enough, so we don't really know what the whole backstory is here. Like, this is the story in sort of the booklet, is that this one is being selfish. But self-interest is really important, especially when we have people around us that pull at our energy, that demand our energy all the time. Pulling back and taking care of yourself and making sure that yourself is cared for is a really good idea. It depends on who these other crows are and how they work together. Do they work together as a team? Is there a bunch of doing the work together and reaping the reward together? Or has there been some sort of imbalance with this group? And this self-interest in making sure that they're looking out for themselves, has that become a necessity with this situation and with these people or with these crows that surround you? So it might be you or it might be somebody else, but somebody here, I think there might be a sense of justification for this self-interest, either from you or from somebody else. And remember that everyone has their own perspective and everyone has their own needs and what they think is fair for them. And it's always good to remember that the divine is on their side just as much as the divine's on your side. So you may feel justified. They may not feel that you're justified. They may feel justified. You may not feel that they're justified. That's not to say there isn't truth there. It's just to say that everyone's going to approach this self-interest from a different perspective. And then we have trickery. So someone may be self-interested, maybe they're supposed to share this, but instead they go hide it, like they don't need it, right? And so there's some sort of covering up of something. There's a cover up here. There's a trick. There's a redirection, right? So this hole's open, but this one's got the goodies in it and they're hiding it, right? And then this one over here is trying to watch what they're doing, but they're not. So self-interest and trickery. So these are difficult energies. There are sometimes important energies of self-preservation. If you happen to be in one of those instances, or they're not that common, but there are instances in which you do need to, use these tools for your own survival. That's not tremendously common, but that can happen. So if that's you, I want you to, understand that these are tools that people can use in dire situations where there aren't other options. But for the most part, this trickery and self-interest looks like someone's looking out for themselves, and they might be telling you, no, I'm not. No, this is about you. Or, there might be something hidden here or something obfuscated. But these together can be quite a warning that someone in your environment is being very selfish and maybe covering it up a little bit. Then we have battle. So these three energies look pretty rough, right? This is a battle over someone's self-interest, putting their own interests above someone else's and trying to trick the other person, but they don't get away with it, and there's some sort of like kerfuffle and a battle that ensues here. Someone ends up standing up for themselves and what they think is right, and the other person isn't going to easily let go of their benefit. They may try to hide the benefit. They would rather hide the benefit than have an out-and-out battle, right? Trickery is all about getting what you want, knowing that this other person in the situation doesn't want, would want in on this, would want in on this. They want in on that. But rather than, actually go straight to the battle, this person's going to try to do a little sneaky stuff, but it doesn't go unnoticed. So there's a battle over some sort of something. There's a battle over something here, resources, something, and it looks like it brings out the worst in people right now. This difficulty and this battle sometimes can be online, right? We literally have all these crows literally online in the background. So yeah, but it's open. It comes out in the open. Whatever's been like, someone tries to do this tries to be selfish, tries to hide it, but it does get called out into the open. So this looks very contentious and difficult. So that's the difficult energy that we have. We also have fear. So this might be very triggering for you. This fear, though, is talking about, again, we have these observers online, right? But they're all going to stay back. This talks about overcoming fear, right? It's labeled fear, but it's actually talking about overcoming fears and doing that bit by bit. And there might be a bit of a battle, right? So with these cards coming out, it seems like there might be something legitimate here, that this, like, right, we look at the scarecrow, and it's specifically designed to scare the crows and keep them away. And it keeps most people in line, but you, Aquarius, being the Aquarius that you are, it's not going to keep you in line for long, right? And so the scarecrow is specifically designed to keep crows away, but someone's overcoming that fear and approaching something, maybe bit by bit, and maybe scurrying back to their this line or this group, and then, but there's one brave crow here that's going to actually venture out. And I think what we're looking at here is maybe all of this bad behavior is going on, but you have to deal with the fear here. And maybe this is fear of confrontation. Maybe someone has been being selfish and is being very tricky and sneaky, and and it has kept you in fear. Like this is trickery right here. This is trickery. This isn't actually a person. It's a stuffed, like, doll. It's a field doll. It's like it's not a person. It looks like a person, but this is the trick. The trickery is to cause you to have fear, to be afraid that something bad is going to happen, something bad, especially if there's a lot of self-interest in keeping you afraid here. But what I love about this card is it's about overcoming that fear. So there's a lot of, someone gets something out of keeping you afraid and keeping you in line and keeping you away. But as you approach this, and I think even as you engage in more battles, you're going to start to realize that you're actually a lot stronger than this, and that this has all been just a trick to keep you in line, and that it might not be, this battle, you might actually be able to win this battle, because usually with trickery, people are aware that they can't win an open battle, right? This is just reminding me of the Seven of Swords. So with someone tricking because they can't win the open battle and they know it, or they don't want to take the risk that requires. So they withhold truth, or they tell lies, or they obfuscate things because they don't want this. But the closer you approach to this, the more you overcome this fear, and the more you realize that this was all just a trick. This was smoke and mirrors that kept you afraid. So engaging in sort of an open conflict, now I'm not like talking about battle, and there are ways to engage in open conflict that are less contentious. This looks very contentious though. But the thing is, someone's been doing it for someone's been keeping you afraid for their own best interests. It serves them. It serves them to keep you in line. Who doesn't? It's right. You know, many of us are more wired to want the people around us to be free. But other people are very much about controlling others and getting what they want by any means necessary, even if that includes trickery. So you may have been kept in fear here. This seems like a big story. It could be a little smaller, but it was very explosive. So we're going with more the explosive vibe here, but it could be a little smaller. Something that you're afraid of, but it's just a trick of the mind, maybe. Let me see if I can pull this back to a smaller. Maybe some internal conflict. A smaller storyline would be internal conflict, having to deal with some fears, but realizing that it's just a trick. Oh, there's a song. Fear is just messing with our heads. And someone might get something out of keeping you in fear, you know? So that's what I'm getting. And it could be bigger, it could be smaller, right? It could be an intimate relationship, or it could be, you know, a coworker or your barista. I don't know how that would work, but you know, it could be a little bit smaller, and it could be internal. You know, having this, well, tricking yourself. But people use fear very commonly to control others. That's exactly what this is about, using fear to control someone else. And once you let that fear sort of infect you, it can be very effective. And that's not to say not to be afraid. I had an experience this past week where fear definitely was the strongest initial emotion, and I was like, well, I can't function in that state, so I can't deal with this situation in the way that I need to deal with it in that state. So thank you, fear. I will not turn my back to this person. I will, I'm aware. Thank you for coming here. I'm aware of the possible aspects here, but I can't, I have to move beyond that in order to deal with the situation ahead of me. So fear was there. It's important. The Gift of Fear is a very good book. I forget who wrote it, but it is an incredible book. And a little point, if someone is specifically, why are you reading that book? That's a dumb book. Pay attention to that, because that will bring out people that want to keep you afraid. And get something out of it, and they don't want you to understand that fear is telling you something about them. Maybe not the thing that they want you to see about them, but the truth about them. So it's a great book. What is it? De Becker? I'm not going to get it right. It's a really good book though. Okay, then we have this other stuff that's really cool here. So we have preparation. So preparing for something good to come in, preparing for good things to come in. And I think it has to do with moving out of this fear state, moving out of this trick that fear has played on you, and preparing for something really good. This is something planned. This is the fairy coming back in. You know, and these crows are dropping clams here on this road, so that when the cars come off the ferry, they smash open the clams and dinner, right? So there's preparation, and it's like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. This is like an ounce of preparation. A couple minutes of preparation is worth a pound of response or panicked. I don't know, dealing with a situation, right? If you do some menu planning or something, it just makes it so much easier than if you're suddenly hungry and oh my gosh, I have to eat. Then you end up in some sort of crazy little place where the hunger makes everything worse and you can't think and all of that. So preparing for something, preparing for these good things that are coming, okay? And dealing with this fear and this trickery, I think, is what you need to do in order to make space for this new stuff. Play and sacred space. So sacred space is about, well, it can be a physical space that you go to that is sacred to you, is very special to you. It can also be about making space for the future to allow it to come in, right? Without preparing this nest, we don't have a place to put these eggs, right? We don't have a place to put the future. The future has no place to go without a nest prepared for it. So, so yeah, the future has just no place to go here if we don't make space for it. And I feel like maybe this fear has kept you from making this space for a beautiful future. And then we also have play here. We have playing with friends. This is like the Three of Cups card. There's like some delight. They're playing in a mud puddle. They're playing in the rain. In the rain with all this crap coming down, with all this stuff happening, playing. So you maybe need to prepare for play, create the space for play, and then allow yourself to play. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That was a lot of cards, and that was a pretty intense story here. And now I'm going to introduce you to this new deck I got. I cannot remember the name right now, but I'm very excited about it. It's very beautiful. I've gotten a few decks recently and have not been able to connect with them at all. It's been kind of disappointing. But this one, I think we're building a connection bit by bit. All right. We have dog, devotion, honesty, faithfulness, and dependability. Well, I think we're getting a little bit of the dependability in this preparation, right? And devotion here. Oh, here it is. Isn't it beautiful? So a dog, right? We have that dependability, right? So in preparation, this fairy comes in at the same times every single day. So it's very dependable. So you're preparing for something that's pretty dependable, that you know you can count on, I think. So, and the dog, protecting, guiding, loyal. You might have a loyal friend here, or a loyal, and honesty. Oh yeah, honesty, coming in with this trickery. Wherever there's trickery and obfuscation, bring in your honesty. Then we have lobster, simplicity, steadfastness, safety, and they forgot to mention deliciousness. I'm sorry, some of you are going to be very offended by that, but simplicity, steadfastness, and safety. Again, we have this dependability and steadfastness. New discoveries. Safety, a sense of safety, right? Because we're dealing with fear. And this is bringing in a sense of safety. And maybe that safety is found in some sort of reliability, dependability. Maybe a routine or something can help you feel safe. Because this is safety being juxtaposed with this fear card. Daring, dragonfly. Expression, joy, understanding. Messages, dragonflies often deal with messages as well. And joy, expression, this looks like play to me. So connecting that with play, with preparing for play, maybe making play part of your routine here as a way to combat the fear. And then we have badger, determination, focus, advancement. Again, this determination, this faithfulness, this steadfastness, dependability, determination. I guess determination to me talks about routine as well. Moving forward. Okay. And then penguin, community, whimsy, loyalty. Again with the loyalty, dependability, the dog with the loyalty, and the penguin with the loyalty. Oh yeah, and the penguins. I mean, you know, the penguin movies that all came out at once somehow. And that family atmosphere, the male penguins with their eggs all clinging together. And whimsy also speaks of play. So maybe playing with your community. Maybe a community that you've been afraid of, or that you've had to do battle with. Maybe you're turning into playing with them. Take that under advisement. Like, don't go playing with people that routinely hurt you, but maybe there's more fear here than there needs to be. So, all right, well, you've got some great little animal helpers here, and I hope that was helpful for you. Join me over on Vimeo if you want for the extended. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later.